Hello, welcome to Kpop's D.Conan channel. If you ask a K-pop fan what's the worst year in K-pop, they may tell you 2017 because of the passings of many big names in the industry. They may tell you 2019 because of the Burning Sun scandal. Maybe 2024 because of the endless hiatus of many idols and passings as well. But let me tell you, there was a year that was called the darkest, saddest, and worst year in K-pop, which is 2014. It was full of tragedies no one was ready for. Warning, this video contains themes that may be disturbing to some viewers, including violence, self-harm, death, trauma, so please if you're uncomfortable with such topics, don't continue. In today's video, we will answer on this question. Why 2014 is K-pop's worst year? Let's investigate this case. 1. Departures. 2014 was full of departure news, especially from very famous and loved groups at that time. Let's start with Kara. If you don't know, Kara debuted in 2007 and originally had Jiri, Sunjian, Nicole, Sunghee. Sunghee left the year after, and then Hara and Ji-young were added. However, on January 15, 2014, DSP Media announced that Kara will go through significant changes as Nicole left after her contract expired, and shortly after. Ji-young also decided not to renew on January 15th of the same year. Then, the girl group Nine Muses faced departures amid contract expirations. On January 29, 2014, Lee Sem and Yoonji officially left, followed by Sarah in June 23 of the same year. On May 15, 2014, EXO, one of the biggest groups at that time, went through lots of changes as Chris Wu filed a lawsuit seeking invalidation of his contract with SM Entertainment. He cited chronic health issues, unfair treatment, and a desire for creative freedom as motivations for his departure. He was followed by Luhan, who filed a lawsuit and left on October 9. He cited unfair treatment of Chinese members and concerns over his deteriorating health as key reasons. Following with SM drama, one of the most shocking, controversial, and mysterious departures was Jessica's departure from SNSD. She was removed on September 11, 2014. Reports suggest her growing fashion business and personal aspirations conflicted with the group's schedule, and she later expressed on Weibo that she had been forced out. Finally, on December 16, 2014, Black's Lee Jun and Thunder announced their departures following contract expirations. Their exits marked the end of an era for the group, which debuted under J.Toon Camp. These two departures didn't only make the group's popularity decline, but also made the famous idol Rain get massive hate. Why? Because J.Toon Camp is a sublabel under J.Toon Entertainment, which was founded in 2007 by Rain. Black's fans accused him of mistreating the group and using all the money he has got for his own comebacks instead. Clue, famous. 2. Controversies. Most controversies at that time had to do with relationships. Let's start with SNSD Hyoin's incident. Hyoin dated Kim Jun-hyung, a CEO for a global marketing brand, who is 10 years older than her. They dated each other for 2 years until April 1st when they broke up. The couple separated on April Fool's Day when Kim Jun-hyung was holding a party at his house and Hyoin had joked around saying that she would jump off the apartment. When Jun-hyung tried to stop him, she hit him in the eye, causing him to call the police and reporting that she physically abused him, causing a big mess because of the misunderstanding. Jessica, Hyoin, Chris, Luhan, and now for Taeyeon and Baekhyun, it was a messy year for SM. On June 18th, it was announced by Dispatch that SNSD Taeyeon and EXO Baekhyun were dating. Then, SM confirmed the relationship, making it one of the very few public couples at the time, even though the company knew how both SNSD and EXO's fandoms were very protective, especially towards two of the most famous members of their groups. At that time, many fans thought it was just a cover-up after Chris Wu's lawsuit. And some said this was to cover up even something bigger, which was the Sewol ferry accident that occurred on April 16, 2014. If you don't know, this is one of the worst tragedies in South Korea. The ship had 476 people, most of them were high school students. Unfortunately, it sank because of carrying over 3 times the legal limit of cargo weight. This resulted in 304 deaths, mostly from students, and only 172 survivors. What made it worse was the fact that the captain abandoned the ship and later he was sentenced to life in prison. And because the mess became related to South Korea's president at that time, it was believed that Taeyeon and Baekhyun were pushed by the media as a fake couple to make people distracted. On June 30, 2014, 2NE1 Park Byum found herself in a huge drug scandal after KBS exposed her for traveling from the US to South Korea while having drugs with her. Accordingly, YG defended Park Byum in a statement saying she was dealing with mental illness because of a past trauma, and that she received counseling and taking medicine from a hospital in the US, and that the medicine considered illegal in South Korea is legal in the US, and Park Byum knew nothing about this, stressing that she had no bad intentions. However, many fans didn't believe it, and Park Byum lost lots of fans at that time. And about the case, the hospital provided medical records and Park Byum wasn't found guilty. Clue, scandals. 3. Crimes. You think 2014's problem stopped here? Well, absolutely not. You heard before about the reason Big Hit, or now Hybe, stopped debuting girl groups for years? What about Kim Hyun-jung's drama with his ex? Let's discuss these two situations now. Both situations were exposed to the media after each other. On August 21st, Miss Choi accused her boyfriend Kim Hyun-jung, a former member of SS501, of assault, claiming he repeatedly beat her, causing bruises and broken ribs. Hyun-jung denied the claims and said he only hit Choi once by accident while practicing martial arts. Then, in 2015, Choi claimed Hyun-jung tried to force her to have an abortion while assaulting her. This definitely ruined Hyun-jung's reputation and career, and he mentally suffered from it. Finally, in November 2020, the court stated that Choi must pay 100 million won because of the damages she made. Why? Because there was no evidence on Choi's claims, whether of the assaulting allegations or suffering miscarriage due to abuse, stressing on the fact that Hyun-jung didn't force Choi for abortion. Now for Glam. The reason Big Hit decided not to debut any girl groups for a while. Glam debuted in 2012 with 5 members, Jiyeon, Trinity, Zinni, Daehee, and Miso, but later Trinity left the group in the same year as she was accused of being a sasaeng of Super Junior Lee Took. The accusations remain unconfirmed until today, though. Anyways, on September 1st, 2014, the famous actor Lee Byung-hun accused Daehee and a model named Jiyeon of blackmailing him as he claimed they threatened to release a video of him drinking and making sexual jokes if he doesn't pay them 5 billion won. Daehee was sentenced to 1 year in prison while Jiyeon got 1 year and a few months. This led to Big Hit kicking Daehee out and later disbanding the group in January 2015. Clue: serious. 4. Passings. This is definitely the darkest chapter of the video. Unfortunately, we will talk about 3 of the most tragic stories in K-pop, which are Super Junior's Lee Took's family passing away, and the shocking case of Ladies' Code, then the 4-minute concert. First, let's start with Lee Took's case. On January 7th, it was announced that Lee Took's father, Park Yong-in, and grandparents, Park Hyun-seok and Chun Kyung-tae, were found dead at home in Seoul. After the investigations, the police stated that Lee Took's father suffocated his parents, then he killed himself. The police also found a note from Yong-in saying, "I'll take my parents with me." Later, it was revealed that Lee Took's father suffered from depression, financial problems, and his parents who had dementia. The police suggested that Lee Took's father probably blamed himself for not being able to take care of his parents, and he wasn't able to continue his life like that. The sad part was that at that time, Lee Took was serving in the military, so he attended the funeral on January 8 and went back to the military on January 11th. Now for Ladies' Code accident. If you don't know, Ladies' Code is a girl group that debuted in March 2013 under Polaris Entertainment and consisted of 5 members: Ashley, Rise, Eunbi, Sojung, and Zuni. On September 2nd, the group was returning to Seoul after a schedule in Daegu when their van crashed on a rainy highway due to speeding and slippery conditions. Unfortunately, member Eunbi passed away immediately only at the age of 21, while Rise suffered from severe head injuries and Sojung suffered injuries in her arm and skull. Just 5 days after Eunbi, and on September 7th, Rise passed away as well at the age of 23. The driver of the van was found guilty and was sentenced to 1 year and 2 months in jail on January 15, 2015. And on April 26, 2015, the 3 members left returned as a trio and continued working in Ladies' Code. Finally, the last tragedy in our video, for Minute concert case. On October 17th, For Minute held a concert in Songnam in Seoul. Unexpectedly, a ventilation grate collapsed, resulting in 16 deaths and 11 injured people. It was revealed that the victims climbed on the top of the grate to have a better view. This case, alongside the Sewol ferry tragedy, made many citizens debate the safety standards in their country. Clue: loss. 5. Why 2014 is K-pop's worst year? By connecting the 4 clues of our video, famous, scandals, serious, loss, we can answer the question. 2014 was full of unfortunate events including famous names, harmful scandals, serious crimes, and the loss of precious souls. All these events made 2014 a very horrible year, whether for K-pop fans or South Korea as a country. What makes 2014 unforgettable is not only the sorrow it carried, but also the lessons it forced the country and also entertainment community to face. It became a reminder of how fragile fame can be, how important responsibility and safety are, and how deeply fans and idols are connected beyond the music. In the end, 2014 was not just a bad year for K-pop, it was a turning point. It showed both the beauty and the vulnerability of the industry, opening eyes on the reality of how idols could be suffering behind the scenes, or maybe how evil they are. It depends on the case. Now I can say case closed. See you in another video.